Hi, Chelsea. I wanted to leave you some feedback on your week one writing assignment. First off, your formatting looks great, very professional. Um, in terms of your response, I really like the way that you have organized your paragraphs, right? So there seems to be a clear and logical flow from one paragraph to the next. Um, Very cohesive. I don't get lost. So great work there. Really, there's just some minor things that I want to talk to you about, right? So really, this would be an example of a submission that just needs some polishing. First off, it looks like you're not indenting all the way. So when you indent your paragraphs, just make sure that you hit the tab key, and that'll go over all the way for you, right? It just looks like it's a little short. Primarily, what I would like to have you think about is informal tone. So there's a couple of examples of informal tone where you're just writing how you talk, right? Um, and that's perfectly acceptable to use formal speech when you are talking with other people. And in fact, most of the things that I noticed are speech patterns that I myself use, right? But when we transition over into writing, particularly in professional contexts, I stumbled over that word. We need to be aware of using more formal tone because in that context, right, that's what we use. We use the more formal tone. So I like your opening sentence in that it's very clear and focused, right? You're getting right to the point for the reader. So I know what you're doing. Right here is where I would just do a little bit of minor editing. So I think had done is like a common colloquialism that we use in Southwest Missouri. I would just avoid using the done part of that. So just try to get more specific. I would say perhaps something like a disagreement I wish I had handled, and you don't want to say different. You want to use the adverb there. You want to say differently. So I would just make this avoid the use of saying done with had done, right? And what you want to use is a more specific verb in this scenario. So like I said, that example could be I had handled differently. um yeah, I think you capture an example that like so many people would relate to. So I really like the example um, that you provide. Though would be another example of informal tone. We can use it all the time in speech, but of course, when it's in the written form, it should be all though, right? So just get your A and your L in front of the though. You've got a a small sentence fragment here. So that means that this is just a piece of a sentence, right? It's not a complete thought, another form of informal tone. So what you want to do here is figure out what you're missing and then revise the sentence accordingly. So, what I mean by that is a sentence fragment is missing one of two things, a subject or a verb, and quite possibly both, right? Because we have to have a subject, we have to have a verb to have a complete sentence. This is an example of a sentence that's missing both. You neither have a subject of or a verb. I get what you're trying to say is that you and your mom should work at trying to see each other's point of view, right? I understand that's what you're saying, but note that it's not completely in the sentence yet, so you're just missing some extra information that you need. When you cite a textbook in MLA, you don't need the quotation marks, you just italicize. So think about when you're citing sources this way: longer works like books, what else? The title of a magazine, like 17 magazine, Vogue magazine, those will always be in italics. However, shorter works like chapters in a book, an article in 17 magazine, or an article in Vogue magazine, those will always be in quotation marks. Okay, and I really think I'm sorry, I'm scanning your document. trying to remind myself if I had something else that I wanted to talk to you about. I think that's it. So as a whole, I think things are working really well in this writing assignment. You're a pretty good writer. It's just some polishing here and there.